As I say this, a lot of us remain behind closed doors and look forward with eager longing to the end of the current lockdown. We as a ministry team love to connect with you in any way we can, to hear your news, to share in your difficulties as well as your joys. Life in parish remains a shared life, so this message is to remind you to reach out if you are in any kind of difficulty or need. And life goes on, and preparations for Advent go on too, though differently. And this day a year ago, I remember handing out 200 goodie bags to children and hosting visits to a church in another deanery because I wasn't in the parish then. Nothing gives me greater joy than to see the little ones wandering around our church buildings freely and happily, engaged and excited by the windows and the pictures and the furnishings. And there are always lots of questions about the fundamental things that our faith hangs on, about the crucifixion and about the resurrection, and about less weighty things too, like the absurdly tiny microphones we use on our lapels. I always learn a lot from these encounters. In one particular church, a bunch of children pointed to the reredos in the chancel, to a mosaic behind the high altar, and they said, "Look, look, there's a man wearing a crown." And I remember the look on their faces, and I remember we talked about how we are now in the kingdom season, and that the man wearing the crown is Christ the King. And so as we come to the end of the kingdom season and move into Advent, I can think of no better way to reach the end of the kingdom season than with recalling the words from our readings today. Both the Gospel and the book of Revelation assert that the kingdom of God, the kingship of God, can never be destroyed. And I hope and I pray that for many years to come, and for as long as the Church of God stands, little children will enter God's buildings, will come unto Jesus, will see and point and say, "Look, there's a man wearing a crown." Because for as long as that happens, the seeds of faith will be sown into the next generation. Nothing can destroy the Church of God or the kingship of Christ. Christ the King yesterday, Christ the King today, and Christ the King tomorrow.